This story begins with a frightened boy escaping from a boarding school deep in the woods. He runs through the trees, chased by several men, and finally throws himself into a lake to avoid being caught. While he hides underwater, he hears the guards' voices searching for him nearby. In another city, we meet Abby and Layla, two inseparable friends. They skip class, smoke, and do whatever they can to run away from their problems. Abby endures verbal abuse from her father, Brian, while Layla lives with an alcoholic mother who never got over the death of her other daughter. The two dream about moving to Vancouver together, but one day at school the principal calls Layla into his office. He tells her she's missed too many classes and is on the verge of failing. Although he says he understands what she's been through, he warns her that she's dragging Abby down with her. Then he suggests enrolling in Tall Pines, a reform school that, according to him, uses innovative methods to help troubled teens. Layla refuses immediately. Later, she lies to Abby, saying the principal only recommended therapy and never mentions the reform school. That same day, when Layla arrives at Abby's house, Brian insults her in front of everyone and kicks her out. Layla leaves humiliated while Brian makes it clear to Abby that he doesn't want her hanging around with a drug-addicted delinquent. That night, Abby snaps. She confronts her father, curses at him in front of his guests, and runs away to meet up with Layla. The two sneak into the school with help from a classmate and steal the answers to their exams. Beforehand, Layla suggests they get high to calm their nerves. The next morning, Abby goes back home. Her sister Claire greets her with a hug, but something feels off. Abby brushes it aside and goes to bed. That night, several men break into her room. They drag her out while her parents watch in silence, and take her away in a white van to Tall Pines Reform School. Meanwhile, we meet Alex and Laura, a couple moving to Tall Pines to start fresh. Laura is pregnant and knows the area from the past, but for Alex everything is new. Thanks to one of Laura's old friends, they get a house without paying a dime. Alex, a police officer, starts work that same day. His new partner, Dwayne, picks him up in the squad car. On the way to the station, they come across the same boy who had escaped from the boarding school. Disoriented, he asks for help, but when he realizes he's still in Tall Pines, he attacks Dwayne and bolts back into the woods. At the station, Alex learns the boy's name is Riley and that he escaped from Tall Pines Reform School. His boss tells him not to worry, that it happens all the time, and they'll track him down. At home, Alex asks Laura about the reform school. She tells him she once studied under Evelyn Wade, the founder, and claims the place saved her life. That night, the couple's dog, Toast, leads Alex to the basement door. When he goes down, he finds a strange drawing, a green door with the word Ponderosa written on it. Disturbed, he keeps it to himself. The next day, Evelyn Wade shows up at the station. She thanks Alex for taking care of the house and gives her version of Riley's escape. Alex notices no one reported Riley missing right away, which raises his suspicions. Evelyn brushes it off, saying kids run away all the time. That night, they organize a search in the woods. Alex finds traces of blood and leaves food out, hoping Riley will come back. In the middle of the night, Alex hears noises at home. Armed, he goes downstairs and finds Riley in the kitchen. He calms him down and tries to help, but when Laura appears, Riley panics. He points at her and screams that she's one of them. Then he lunges at her with a knife. Alex intervenes, they struggle, and he ends up seriously injuring the boy. Before dying, Riley whispers to Alex that Laura is part of it too. Meanwhile, Abby wakes up at the reform school. They strip away her belongings, give her a uniform, and impose strict rules. She's terrified. The police collect Riley's body and reassure Alex that it was self-defense. They suggest she take a few days off. When Layla finds out Abby has been admitted to the reform school, she feels guilty. The principal tells her that, in his opinion, she's the one who really belongs there, but her mother can't afford the cost. Furious, Layla decides to go after her friend. With some money Abby's sister gives her, she convinces her boyfriend to drive her, but he abandons her halfway. Even so, she manages to sneak into the facility. When she sees Abby in the yard, she runs toward her, but the supervisors grab her and drag her away. Evelyn calls Layla's mother and convinces her to mortgage her house to pay for her daughter's stay. Layla overhears the whole thing and warns her mother she'll regret it. From that moment, she starts planning her escape. Abby, more cautious, tells her they have to wait for the right moment. She hasn't even seen how terrible things really are. Meanwhile, Alex digs into the police records and discovers that 18 teenagers have escaped from Tall Pines, and none of them have been heard from again. He decides to check Riley's belongings, since the boy had said he wrote everything in his journal. In Evelyn's office, Alex can't find the journal, but he does come across photos of Laura. Evelyn tells him that if the journal shows up, she'll send it to him. Meanwhile, Abby and Layla explore the grounds and stumble upon a flooded room that looks into an office filled with security cameras. From there, Layla spots Alex and runs to beg for help. With guards nearby, Alex tells her to punch him and, in the scuffle, secretly slips a radio into Abby's pocket so they can stay in contact without being noticed. When Layla returns, she's punished. They lock her in a strange room where a recorded phrase repeats over and over. The door looks eerily similar to the one Alex found in the basement of his house. Abby manages to contact Alex through the radio. He tells her there's little he can do without solid proof, but if they find something, to let him know. At that moment, Laura overhears the conversation and gets upset. She accuses Alex of risking everything and insists Abby needs treatment he doesn't understand. Tension rises, but Alex is determined to keep investigating. After her punishment, Layla remains set on escaping, but Evelyn begins to win her trust. She tells her she can't keep carrying her pain and that she needs to let go. With manipulative words, she describes the jump, a ritual meant to heal emotional wounds. It sounds strange to Layla, but it lingers in her mind. Meanwhile, Abby starts growing closer to Rory, one of the other kids. He confides that he has tried to escape before, but it's nearly impossible. Everything is monitored, cameras are everywhere. Abby feels Rory is on her side and slowly begins to trust him. At the same time, Alex goes to a town fair with Laura, but something unsettles him. There are no children anywhere. Every young person he sees is a Tall Pines student. Laura explains that decades ago the community chose not to have children of their own, dedicating themselves instead to helping the ones already suffering. Evelyn believes that's the way to make the world better, but with Laura's baby on the way, things will change. That night, Abby tells Alex that Riley had been forced to go through that jump ritual before his escape attempt. He had been so shaken. Abby is terrified they'll do the same thing to her and Layla. Alex urges her to be patient, to hold on until he has solid evidence to get them out. When he returns home, Alex realizes Laura is gone. He frantically searches for her and finds her submerged in the lake. He pulls her out, but she refuses to explain, only saying she needs him by her side and that everything will be fine. Meanwhile, Abby confides in Layla that Riley is dead but begs her not to tell anyone. However, during a confession exercise enforced by the supervisors, Layla blurts it out. The revelation spreads like wildfire among the students, sparking a rebellion. Amid the chaos, one of Layla's classmates, ELO, overdoses. Abby has no choice but to open the gates for the supervisors to save her. That single act shatters the trust between the two friends, leaving them both feeling isolated. Alex keeps digging and uncovers an article criticizing Tall Pines. He contacts the author, who reveals details about the disappearances, the rituals, and the institution's hidden past. He also tells Alex that Laura's parents vanished shortly after trying to pull her out of Tall Pines when she was a child. However, the author realizes Alex is a cop and attacks him. Alex defends himself, injures him, and flees. The weight of the truth begins to crush him. Something very dark is hidden in that town. Meanwhile, Abby and 6 other students are sent up the mountain for an extreme activity. They must race to the top, and whoever gets there first is supposedly granted freedom. Along the way, several are injured. Stacy, one of the most aggressive students, even kills another girl in revenge. When they finally reach the summit, the winner chooses not to leave. He says he'd rather go back with the others. That decision shocks everyone, but it also proves how deeply the reform school has reshaped their minds. Alex discovers that a crime linked to a cult once took place in his own house. Before he can process what he's learned, Dwayne shows up. He knows what Alex did to the journalist and points a gun at him, but he tells him not to worry. Evelyn ordered that no harm come to him. According to Dwayne, Alex and Laura are already part of Tall Pines. Alex rushes to see Laura, who greets him calmly. She warns him not to speak because there are microphones in the house. She promises they'll leave soon, but only after the baby is born. Evelyn, however, has other plans. She slowly begins grooming Laura as her successor, telling her that her child will be the firstborn in the community in decades, and that makes him a symbol of hope. Meanwhile, Abby seeks out Layla to apologize. She tells her Evelyn is only playing with her mind, making her carry guilt that isn't hers. Layla breaks down in tears and the two reconcile. They decide to escape together, this time with Rory's help. One night, they take advantage of a guard's distraction and break out of the school, but their escape doesn't go unnoticed. The entire town mobilizes to hunt them down. Tension runs high. On the way, Layla stops. She tells Abby that for the first time in her life she feels heard here, that no one abuses her, and that she has no one waiting for her outside. Abby pleads with her, but Layla stays behind. Abby continues on with Rory, but as they near the woods, Rory decides to sacrifice himself. He tells her he'll distract the pursuers so she can get away. They share a kiss goodbye, and Abby runs on alone, determined to reach the car Alex hid in the forest. Meanwhile, Alex stumbles across a student's corpse. At that moment, he's captured by Dwayne and taken before Evelyn. She plans to make him undergo the jump, the same ritual that killed others. But Rabbit, one of Evelyn's closest students, betrays her during the ceremony. She hands Alex a massive dose of the drug used for the ritual. Alex seizes the chance and injects Evelyn with it. She immediately begins hallucinating. As she spirals into a chaotic mental state, Alex breaks free. Overdosed, Evelyn loses control, mumbling nonsense and seeing green doors everywhere. Alex manages to escape while she collapses into a deep hallucination. Back home, Laura goes into labor. The entire community gathers to witness the baby's birth. The scene is bizarre. Men and women of all ages surround Laura, some naked, waiting in devotion for the child to arrive. When the baby is born, they receive him as if he were a messiah. Laura tells Alex the baby doesn't just belong to them, but to the whole community. Alex is paralyzed, unable to react. He has the chance to flee with his child, but he doesn't. He just stands there, staring at Laura and the crowd around him. In that moment, he realizes his life has changed forever. Long ago, Alex had discovered that Evelyn wasn't the original founder of Tall Pines. As a young woman, she joined a cult led by a man named Weldon. He believed trauma could be erased through rituals and psychedelic drugs. Evelyn became convinced his methods had value, but also realized he wasn't fit to lead, so she eliminated him and took his place. From then on, she perfected the ritual of the jump, a way to break people's will and turn them into loyal members of her community. She used drugs, emotional manipulation, and isolation to achieve total control. Under her leadership, Tall Pines became more than a reform school. It was a complete experiment in domination. Laura had grown up in that environment, shaped by Evelyn since childhood. Her parents, who once tried to take her out, mysteriously disappeared. Over time, Laura became one of Evelyn's star students, and although she seemed to have escaped at some point, the truth was she never really left.